Ballad of Johnny Arcane, a novel by Jim Nail, read by Jim Nail. Chapter 1, Johnny Arcane Sets Out, Part 1. A messenger appeared on the afternoon of the owl moon in Johnny Arcane's 17th summer. Johnny was out working the garden, thinning the carrots, when he saw the stranger round the crest of the western ridge, no more than a speck in the distance, like an oak tree walking. The stranger stomped the road dust off his boots when he reached the house. He was mostly dressed in rags, but he had the distinguishing red armband of a messenger, and he wore a fine leather hat. He came inside and sat at the table. Mother gave him a tall tumbler of water and a slice of homemade bread. "The news I bring weighs heavy on my heart," he said. "About 10 days ago, I was at the Midsummer Fair in a place called Archer's Bale. There was a man there. He was playing concertina for some children. But when he saw me, he stopped and said, 'Messenger.' He took me into the roadhouse, and we drank some beer, even though it was only midday. He told me what he needed to do. He drew me a map, and he gave me a letter." The messenger reached into his pocket and produced a tattered envelope. The seal was clearly broken. "He said it was 10 days walking should I start out in the morning. He said the letter was for a woman who was the mother of his son." Mother took a short breath and reached her folded hand across the table. Johnny sat down quickly and took her hand in his, but she pulled him away. Her expression revealed nothing except that she appeared to be looking into something large and deep, like a cavern. "The hard part is this," the messenger continued. "That night was midsummer, and at Archer's Bale they built a large scarecrow out of straw, and they light him on fire. The man was playing his concertina when they lit the scarecrow. People were dancing a ring around it, especially the children dancing to the man's music. The scarecrow began to topple over, and the dancers moved away, but the man stayed where he was, and the scarecrow fell on him and covered him in flame. The people rushed to him, but they couldn't get close. It was too hot. When the fire burned out, there was nothing, just a pile of ash. The man burned up completely, even his bones." Mother stood and walked to the stove. A pot of soup stock was simmering, and she stirred it with a wooden spoon. She did not turn around when she spoke. "We weren't close. He left before Johnny was born, and I haven't heard from him since. But it's always sad when a life is lost." That night, Mother fixed the messenger up with a bed of straw in the hayloft. It was a warm night, and the owls were restless. The moon was nearly full. It wasn't until the dogs were quiet and the hens were clucking quietly in their sleep that she lit the carbide lamp and set it on the table, and she and Johnny sat down there, and she opened the letter. She fingered the broken wax seal. "Corndam messengers," she said. "No purity these days. Why do people always want to know things?" Then, without further comment, she spread the parchment on the table and read in a flat-surfaced voice. "My dear Calendula, the memory of the time we spent together is like a beacon shining in a dark night. In all my seasons of sojourning there has been no other, and Johnny is my only child. And now I must tell you this. Tonight I plan to leave my body. In my travels I have learned many things, more than you could imagine, were you prone to imagination. One thing I learned is that it is possible to choose the time of one's own departure. I won't go into the details except that tonight is my chosen time. Sojourning is not a choice one makes. It is in the blood, and surely there is some sojourning in Johnny's blood. He is, after all, my son, and your father, too, was a sojourner. If Johnny is to be a sojourner, you will have recognized it by now. You must let him go. And if he is reluctant, you must encourage him. I believe that sojourners are a new breed of people in the world. They bring something new, something inevitable. Whether or not it is a good thing is yet to be seen, but its inevitability cannot be denied. But I don't need to tell you this. I remember the clarity, almost disinterest, with which you let me go, such a short time before our son was born. To be honest, for the first few months, my heart was broken until I realized the rightness of your approach. Now that I have seen and learned so much, affections and yearnings are no longer part of my vocabulary. So tonight I will leave the body. I will have finished my travels. I will have done my work. I only regret that I will not know if this message has reached you. I can only trust that it will, and that the circle will be closed. Yours in solitude, Casper Arcane. There was a long silence. Mother remained at the table, stone-faced. Johnny got up and walked about the kitchen. A green-winged beetle crawled across the tablecloth top, courting the white glow of the carbide lamp. Johnny turned. Mother, does everything everywhere happen all at the same time? I don't understand your question, son. Well, my question is this. The messenger said it was a 10-day journey. That means it was 11 nights ago when the scarecrow fell on Father. At that time, we were probably sitting at the table, eating supper, or playing ruins, or shelling beans. If everything, everywhere, happens at the same time, we should have been able to know what was happening to Father. Perhaps we could have even stopped it from happening. Johnny, that is foolishness. Even if you knew what was happening somewhere else, you couldn't do anything about it. You have to be there. You have to be somewhere to do something about it. But you could be wrong. What if you knew what was happening somewhere else and you could do something about it? You could send a message, one that doesn't need to travel over distance. It could be possible, Mother. Mother sighed and stretched one hand across the table as if she were reaching for her son, but Johnny was pacing the other side of the room. Mother sighed again, and then she made a little faraway smile. And that is why I know your father is right. You're a sojourner, Johnny. Only a sojourner would think such thoughts.